RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
I'm disappointed. We knew that we would have to institute these protocols at some point. We just didn't think it would be on the first night of school.
A student who attended the first day of school at a junior high in Greenfield tests positive for COVID-19. What the superintendent wants every student and parent to know now.
The state testing nursing home workers for COVID-19. On Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny, we're digging into why those numbers are so low.
Tens of thousands of Hoosier students lack internet access at home. The changes being proposed to help these kids learn remotely. Good evening to you here at 6 o'clock. Thanks for being here. I'm Mark Mullins. Let's begin at 6 o'clock with breaking news we're following. Hendricks County prosecutors have filed criminal charges against 2 Tri-West High School administrators for failing to report suspected sexual misconduct involving a teacher and a student. Stacy Bagley is the dean of students. Her husband is the athletic director, Nathan Bagley. Both face a misdemeanor charge of failure to make a report. Prosecutors say the Bagleys were made aware of allegations involving a teacher, Tyler Bruce, and a female student in February of 2019, but never notified police or the Department of Child Services. The school board put the Bagleys on administrative leave for 5 months after the State Department of Education filed a complaint against their teaching licenses. We are working to get responses from the Bagleys and the district tonight. Breaking new information about a shooting in Carmel that left 2 people dead, including the suspect, and 1 person injured. The Carmel Police Department says it all began as an argument outside of a home on the 14,000 block of River Rock Court. That's in the Spring Creek neighborhood near Hazeldale Parkway and 146th Street. Police say during a 911 call, dispatchers heard gunshots and sent officers to the scene. When police arrived, they found 28-year-old Taylor Cox dead. She was the suspect's girlfriend. Officers then found a 66-year-old woman who had been shot. She survived and is recovering. Police say they then found the suspect, 26-year-old Julio Cesar Verula, nearby. Investigators say Verula raised a gun toward an officer. Police tell us the officer fired multiple shots with his patrol rifle at the suspect to protect himself and the community. Verula died at the scene. The police officer directly involved has been temporarily reassigned until administrative review of the incident is complete. The sun is out on this Friday evening after a day full of rain yesterday, but enjoy this because more wet weather is on the way for the start of the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory explains how you need to prepare tonight and into tomorrow. Kevin.
How about that, Mark? After lots of dry time in the month of July, we're transitioning into August with more rain tomorrow. That's the headline for your Saturday. Still have some rain around as we get to Sunday. We'll have more on that in a second. As far as our evening showers, they sit south of Interstate 70 now, drifting to the north. There's no heavy rain there, but the trend will be continuing to drift to the north. It'll be enough to get the grass wet if you're trying to mow the lawn, and maybe intermittent wipers if you're driving around. A little heavier shower just southeast of Sullivan. As we go overnight and into the morning, here's 7 o'clock this evening to 11. There are the showers remaining mainly in the southern half of the state. Then as we go into tomorrow and through the weekend, rainfall 1 to 2 inches, isolated higher amounts possible. We'll take you through tomorrow's timeline and look at an unusual 7-day forecast.
Tonight at Hancock County Junior High School is already having a large group of students in quarantine, and today is just the 2nd day of school. This precaution comes after the health department notified Greenfield Central Schools that a student tested positive for COVID-19. RTV6's Nicole Griffin is talking with both parents and the superintendent about what's next.
Just hours after students returned home from class on the very first day of school here at Greenfield Central Junior High School, parents received this email notifying them that a student has tested positive for the coronavirus. The district now says they have enacted their positive COVID-19 test protocol.
Why would you send your child to school knowing that you're waiting for this result?
Parents with children who attend Greenfield Central Junior High School are frustrated and concerned.
So, of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, here we go.
Monica Ogle's daughter just started 7th grade on Thursday.
Honestly, I was just waiting for the phone call, but I never received one. So hopefully that means that everything's good.
Superintendent Dr. Harold Olin says contact tracing has now started, and a large group of students that were in close contact with the student are in quarantine for 14 days.
It's certainly unfortunate for those families that were contacted last night. They had this excitement about being back for the first day of school. That very night, getting a phone call saying, your child's going to need to stay home for 2 weeks. Disappointing? Yes. The word that you asked me about? Yeah, I'm disappointed.
Dr. Olin says the focus now is on educating parents of expectations.
If a pending test is out there, we think that parents would not send their students to us until that was clear.
The guidelines state if your kid is running a fever or have symptoms, you keep your kid home. So that's common sense.
Parents are being asked to self-monitor their children. If they have any symptoms or a fever above 99.5, keep them at home. Working for you in Greenfield, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
The superintendent says that they have reduced one class period this year and have eliminated use of lockers. But keeping students in small groups at the junior high level isn't possible due to students moving from class to class. And that's why they have had to speak with several teachers in multiple classes and have asked those students to quarantine. Earlier this month, Governor Eric Holcomb released guidance to school districts across the state on protocol for positive COVID-19 cases, as well as on students wearing masks. That guidance says if positive cases are discovered, students may be grouped in pods that move through the day together. The pods should be isolated from other groups of children so entire classrooms don't have to be shut down. The state will identify who spent more than 15 minutes within 6 feet of the person for the 48 hours before their symptoms showed up or before a positive test. Any close contacts will be asked to self-quarantine for 14 days. This is how Greenfield Central Junior High handled their situation after a student tested positive there. If grouping students isn't possible, the entire class may need to quarantine. The state says students in grades 3 through 12 are required to wear masks in school settings. In Marion County, any student over the age of 8 will be required to wear a mask. To see all of the state guidance for schools and students, click on this story on our website, theindychannel.com, and you can also see it at the RTV6 app. A slight decrease in new COVID-19 cases in Indiana, but an increase in deaths. Let's look at the latest data from the state. The Indiana Department of Health confirms 912 new cases of coronavirus. That's 58 fewer new cases than were reported yesterday. In total, so far, 66,154 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19. The state also reports 19 new deaths, 6 more than yesterday. 2,765 people in Indiana have died from the coronavirus since the start of the pandemic. More than 747,000 Hoosiers have been tested for COVID-19. 8.9% have tested positive for the virus. More new numbers from the state. 865 people were in Indiana hospitals with COVID-19 as of yesterday. That's up from 831 coronavirus hospitalizations on Wednesday. And on Tuesday, 837 people were in the hospital with COVID-19. The State Department of Health says 42% of Indiana's ICU beds are available. COVID-19 patients are using about 12% of those ICU beds. Non-COVID-19 patients are using about 46% of the beds. 84% of the state's ventilators are available as well. The state announced this week that only 1% of workers at Indiana nursing homes have tested positive for the virus. Yet new numbers also show that most of the state's COVID-19 deaths have happened at long-term care facilities. So how is this possible? Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny is digging deeper to find out what could explain the numbers.
During the month of June, the state tested most of the state's nursing home workers for COVID-19. This week, they released those results.
Dara Hendricks, a Crawfordsville nursing home worker, tested positive for COVID-19.
But I'm scared.
She tells me she is still struggling with a cough months after her diagnosis. Dara quit her job right before the state started testing nearly all nursing home workers. In all, the state tested 46,201 employees at long-term care facilities. 466 tested positive for COVID-19. That's 1%. Numbers also released this week show 60% of the state's COVID-19 deaths have been residents at long-term care facilities. We asked the Indiana Healthcare Association why. They represent nursing homes.
I think what we're going to see is a lot of the tragic loss of life that occurred early on in the pandemic. And that was when the country was caught somewhat flat-footed. And prioritization of PPE and testing just wasn't with long-term care at that point.
President Zach Cattell says since the early days of the pandemic, availability of PPE and testing has improved greatly.
It's been weeks since I've heard of facilities having shortages of N95 masks.
Also, facilities improved their infection control protocols. State officials had hoped June's round of testing would show them trends so they could target future testing, but no such luck.
Even in counties with prevalence rates that were less than 3%, we had facilities with significant number of staff who were positive.
The state plans to test all nursing home workers again in August, a key to preventing future outbreaks at nursing homes. So far, 12 workers have died across the state. 1,618 long-term care residents have died from COVID-19.
But at the end of the day, long-term care cares for the population that's most at risk.
In 2 weeks, the state plans to release a dashboard that will include nursing home deaths and cases broken down by facility. That information will not, however, show where nursing home workers worked that died from COVID-19. Reporting at the State House, Kara Kenny, RTV6.
Despite all of the warnings about COVID-19, there is a concern whether enough is being done on outreach. Only on RTV6, Dr. Deborah Burks agreed to talk to RTV6 about the issues Hoosier families are facing during this pandemic. She's a leader on the White House Coronavirus Task Force. Burks says among her biggest concerns are missing a potential outbreak and making sure all in the community have access to testing, services, and are getting the message to keep healthy.
Are we getting to all the communities that need to hear our voices? Are we getting into the Hispanic and African American community through the churches, through the community centers? Is our message getting out to everyone who needs to hear it, and has it been internalized so that they can do what's right to protect themselves and their loved ones? I worry about that every day.
Burks has been on tour of Midwest and Southern states from Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee, calling on people to wear masks. The mother of a Richmond teenager who shot himself after exchanging gunfire with police inside of a school will not go on trial in August. Instead, 44-year-old Mary York has agreed to plead guilty and will appear next before a Wayne County judge in October. York faces 7 charges. Those charges include 5 for neglect, 1 for criminal recklessness, and 1 charge of dangerous control of a child, permitting a child to possess a handgun while aware of the risk. We will find out which one she is pleading guilty to during an October hearing. On December 13, 2018, York called police to report her 14-year-old son was armed, had taken a family member hostage, and was on his way to Dennis Intermediate School to, quote, shoot up the school. The teenager shot out a glass door to get inside the building. There, he and police exchanged shots before the 14-year-old killed himself. Tens of thousands of students don't have internet access at home when it's needed to be able to take part in remote learning. The proposed changes to fix this problem. There is a professional sports team in Indy right now playing and dominating. That's the Indy 11. Brad Brown has a deeper look at their soccer success. Kevin?
And we're tracking showers tonight, thunderstorms for tomorrow. Most active areas in southern Indiana and Kentucky. For now, back after this.
A new Ball State study shows that up to 85,000 students in Indiana do not have internet access at home. The Rebound Indiana takes a look at the barriers that could keep people from having success during and beyond the pandemic. Our Stephanie Wade has more on the changes being proposed to help kids who are learning from home.
We're 6 months into this and we haven't thought through how some of this is going to work. And I think that we're at risk of leaving a substantial share of Hoosier children behind.
Michael Hicks, the director for the Center of Business and Economic Research for Ball State, calls internet and Wi-Fi disparities among students one of the most compelling public policy problems of 2020.
We're talking here, 6.5%, 1 out of every 15, 16 kids who have nothing. They just don't have any broadband, any internet access, nothing.
As students are already returning to school this week, IPS, the largest district in the state, voting just last night to begin the school year entirely virtual, says they're deploying devices to their students over the next 2 weeks to ensure everyone has what they need to access learning.
We are a 1-to-1 district now, so every student, K2, will be supplied with an iPad. 3 through 12 will be supplied with a Chromebook. We've ordered MiFis for families who have that need.
The Ball State study found the up to 85,000 students with no internet access live in rural places where broadband is less available and urban areas like Indianapolis. The solution?
I do think it's going to require the state General Assembly re-looking at how we deploy broadband, how we allow communities to help subsidize that. And at the same time, and this is a much more urgent problem, is to find alternative locations for kids to go to school. We have empty big box stores that could be converted to learning centers where Wi-Fi could be provided.
Knowing losing every 1 in 15 kids to online access means they might not be able to catch up.
And that's really, I think, the worry that we have. This is a problem then that will be still plaguing our economy decades from now if we don't find a solution to that educational problem right now, this fall, during this time.
Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Well, several internet providers offer programs for eligible low-income households. You can find out more information and links to other resources right now at the indychannel.com/safelyback-to-school.
Well, final hours, the month of July, about ready to put it in the rearview mirror. We've had above average temperatures this month with 11 days of 90-degree temperatures or warmer. August will not start on a warm note. We'll be in the 70s. I show you the radar just to let you know we'll have a few showers this evening that are drifting north toward Indianapolis through Bloomington, Nashville, Columbus, and headed toward I-70. Tomorrow is when we'll have the widespread heavier rain and some thunderstorms. Severe threat is low. The greater risk is over in Ohio, but we'll keep track of that. We may have some heavy rainfall as well. I think I accidentally hit a button here. We don't want to end the show before it's even gotten rolling. I am just getting started with what's going on across central Indiana. As you look at our rainfall potential as we go through the weekend and into Monday, just like the last few events, we'll have the potential for 1 to 2 inches of rain, maybe more across central Indiana in these downpours. That just gets us to Monday morning. And then I think on Tuesday, most of the rain will be letting up. 75 tomorrow. Sunday temperature 77. Biggest difference between the 2 days, I think, more consistent and heavier rainfall first half of the weekend. The afternoon showers, thunderstorms on the Sunday. Temperatures tomorrow struggle because of the persistent cloud cover and periods of rain. We're staying in the low to mid 70s. There'll be a breeze out of the northeast. As you can see, periods of rain start in the morning. Some thunderstorms, heavier downpours, that isolated severe risk during the afternoon. If you draw a line from Terre Haute to Indy to Muncie southeast, that's the most likely area for the consistent heavier pockets of rain. As I mentioned, the severe threat for now looks to be to the east. We'll see if that gets modified tomorrow. If we were to get sunshine out earlier in the day, that could change that outlook. Storm Shield app is always great to have, even when severe weather is not the main topic. It's free for your smartphone. Sunday temperatures, those will be in the 70s. Now we're going to the 7-day on purpose. I already accidentally went there. This is what's unusual about the 7-day forecast. Temperatures in the 70s, 6 out of 7 days. Our temperatures in the 50s for lows as we get to the middle of next week. Humidity will be low, sunshine, and comfortable temperatures by Wednesday of next week. Mark?
Kevin, thank you. The Indy 11 have another home match tomorrow night. The team hasn't missed a beat since restarting its season 3 weeks ago, and they are closing in on a league record win streak. Brad Brown has a look at the 11's summer success in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.
Any thoughts of a slow start after a long layoff were quickly quelled by the Indy 11.
We've been trying to rotate the team, trying to keep everybody fresh. And so far, the guys have done a really great job in getting good results and picking up the wins.
It's been an amazing opening 3 weeks for the boys in blue. 4 wins in 5 matches, all of it in a span of just 19 days. The squad has tallied 13 goals scored in their first 6 outings.
I think the team's playing with more intensity. More attacking flair, more creativity, and that's what fans like to see. That's what coaches like to see as well. At the same time, we're still defending well and keeping good possession of the ball.
Pasher stepping inside. Can he grab the extra points? Pasher!
Tyler Pasher's been perhaps the league's top player in July. His 96th-minute goal last week at Pittsburgh essentially stole 3 points in the standings. Every night out, Pasher's drawing the full attention of the opposing defense.
As a forward, I know I'm good. It's going to come. The more and more I shoot, the more and more I have an opportunity to score. So I just kept working at it, kept pushing. I didn't really think about missing. I just thought about the next one.
From about the midpoint of last season, he's really done incredibly well. He's scored a lot of goals and created a lot of goals, and he's just continued that into this season and has really been doing well. Seems to be having fun, seems to be playing with confidence.
It's a sprint to open the revamped USL 2020 campaign. Indy already has 15 points in the standings. That's the best mark of any team in the USL's championship division.
It doesn't take so long to prepare for the opponent because we just played them, a few games previously. But in the long haul, it is hard to play a team 4 times because you get to know each other, you cancel each other out a little bit. So we'll have to make sure we're fresh and focused.
Home field has been a true advantage for Indy. 11 straight wins at home, closing in on the league record of 13 in a row.
The fans create a really good atmosphere, even in this time of somewhat of a lockdown. We're one of the few sports anywhere in the world that's allowed to have fans, and so we're really excited about that, and that helps us a lot. Within Lucas Oil, it's a great atmosphere, it's always very loud, and so that's been something that I think's been a big factor, is the support we've had from all our fans at home.
Here in Indy, we have some amazing fans, and the dedication from them as well as a supporting group to come and cheer us on, even with all that's going on. We appreciate it tenfold.
Brad Brown, RTV6 Sports.
Periods of rain tomorrow, some thunderstorms as well. Right from the start in the morning hours, I think the intensity of the rainfall, some of the downpours increase in the afternoon. Mark?
I want to thank you for joining us for the news at 6. We're back with you at 7. World News is next.